And then
Yeah,
strangers
so I
are
think
complimenting.
it was that, and I think it was just natural shyness. Like I'm just naturally not super outgoing anyway. But yeah, I think it was definitely to make me feel bad. Oh, but that all changed. Well, at least in this instance, in high school, I decided I'm sick of being shy. I'm going to try out for the school musical and see what happens. And so my friend was like, let's do it together. And I was like, okay, all right, I'm going to do this. It's going to be fine. I'm going to look at the back of the room. I'm going to belt it out. We're going to do this. And so the musical was Annie. I don't know how much you know about musicals, Broadway.
No,
I love it.
I don't know Annie, but I know it is a musical.
Okay, so it's
But
basically like a little orphan girl. She gets
yeah,
adopted by
yeah.
Daddy Warbucks. There's a bunch of other orphans. She's like the leader. Anyway, but I loved that movie. I grew up with it. I was like, yes, let's do this. So I tried out, I belted, I did what I could. My music teacher went all the way back in the auditorium and could still hear me, and I could see him smirking. And I was like, I think I'm doing good. I think I'm doing good. And so we would like do dance numbers and stuff to audition. I made it through the different rounds. Auditions, like, the parts were posted, and I was like, you look. I told my friend, you look. I can't look. I'm probably not even on there, or I'm just like painting scenery or something. I'm part of the crew. She looks and she starts screaming. She's like, oh my gosh, look at it. Look at it. I can't believe it. You got to look at it. And I was like, okay, I'll look at it. I got the big part. I got Annie.
The titular role.
Not even like backup. It was me. I got the main lead. And then later,
man.
yeah, later that day, my mom calls me because I told her they posted it. I'm getting emotional too. My mom calls me. She's sobbing. She's like, you did it. You got it. I'm so proud of you. I knew you could do it. And then, so we go through it. I memorized my script. Like I was on it. Like I knew the things before anybody else because I was like, I gotta do my best. I've got this. So my mom comes to every single performance, every night. She brought me flowers like at least 2 of those nights. Some of my family came one of the nights. And then there was the night when my bio dad came and he sat in like the front row. And let me tell you, I've never sang Hard Knock Life better because it's all about like, it's a hard knock life for us. And I was like, I sang right to him with my scrub brush choreography on the floor. I was like, yeah, take that. And after it was over, instead of saying, you did great, good job, he comes up to me and basically makes it out like he did all the work. That it was because of him that I was able to do that. Like, and to other people, it was like, I made that. That's all me.
Yeah,
look at what I did.
He took credit.
Look at what I did.
Bastard took credit for
and
it.
And I was like, huh? That's not it. And so I always remember that he, and I did other plays and performances after that, some of which I got the lead, some of which it was, just wasn't right for the part, which is fine.
Sure.
And he would show up, same song and dance. I made that. It's all me. And I'm like, oh yeah, you did practice, 5 days a week, sometimes 6 days a week, hours on end. Oh yeah, you did it. So that was the only time he kind of changed his tune. But again, it was all about him. Nothing about me. When people would compliment me, like his friends or family would compliment me, it was like, yeah, I made that.
Can you define how that makes you feel now, thinking back on it, and how it made you feel at the time? Because it must have been very difficult, especially with a musical like Annie, which is, I'm sure, something you could relate to about having a hard knock life and wanting a new family and a new start and a new opportunity. To have what must be one of your first big achievements ridiculed and almost taken away from you like it wasn't yours, it must have hurt.
It did, and I felt like it wasn't mine anymore. I felt like, am I really good? or, what's going on. It made me doubt myself. And my mom, bless her, she really tried hard. She's like, no, don't believe that. This is all you. You did this. Like, I couldn't do what you're doing. You're doing so well.
In a darkly humorous way, you could credit him in the same way you can credit Joe Jackson with like the greatness of the Jackson 5, and in a darkly cruel, humorous way. But
yeah, there were a couple times
because it's odd because we get our heritage from our environment, and so you wouldn't be here without your dad. But like you said, he's done nothing but put you down and discourage you, and he doesn't put in the hours, and he hasn't been sat in his room lonely and sad, so you sing to yourself, and that's where you get better at singing. And
yeah,
I'm sorry to hear that, mate. Sorry, carry on. I don't want to interrupt you.
But now when I think about it, it is still sad. Like, I feel bad for the younger me and all that she had to go through. But at the same time, I don't know. I still love him. I don't wish any ill will on him. Like, I hope his life is okay. I just don't want him to be a part of mine because it's not healthy. It's not healthy for me to be around him. I don't want that kind of negative energy in my life. Like, I feel good about myself. Like, I can take pride in my appearance and my personality and my talents. And it's not a cocky thing. I feel good about me. Like, I am enough. I am worthy. I don't need anybody to tell me that I am. I know I am. So
good for you.
There comes a point where you just say, you know what? I'm not holding out hope. I'm not holding out any more hope that you can ever be who I need you to be, that you will ever love me. Because people have said, like, oh, no, he loves you. He loved you. I'm like, no, he didn't. He didn't. Because if he loved me, there are parts that make up love that he could have given to me. It would have been unconditional. I would have had his respect. I would have had his understanding, his acceptance, his appreciation. And I had none of that. It was all criticism. You're not good enough. You're ugly. You're worthless. There was a time, and it has stuck with me. Like, I will still have dreams about it, where I had a smart mouth with him. I readily admit that. However, his response was inappropriate, and I will never forgive him for it, which was, he came in, and he was a big guy. He was like a bodybuilder. So very muscular, like 6'2", 6'1", 6'2" guy.
Had a passing resemblance to Tom Selleck, if that helps with the visual.
But like a bulky Tom Selleck, like old days Arnold Schwarzenegger, Tom Selleck looks.
Bigger than a young girl.
Yes, far bigger. This was like 7th or 8th grade. So I smart off to him. My mom is not home, which is already dangerous territory. He comes into my room, and he's mad because the windows are open and the neighbors could hear, which I don't know if they ever heard. Comes in, basically power bombs me to the floor, holds me down by my throat, and squeezes. And I'm like, oh shit, like, I can't breathe. I'm starting to see black. I'm like, I think I'm gonna die here today. I look at him, and his eyes, you know how when somebody is happy, their eyes will like sparkle? He had that. He had a sparkle in his eyes. My tears are starting to come out, and it was probably because it was traumatic, but also because there's something about when you can't breathe, like everything starts to come out of your body. And he smiled. And the harder I cried, the more air it took up. And then he started laughing. And I was like, I'm going to die. And I was like, you know what? I don't want that to be the last thing I see. If I'm going to die, I'm going to control what I see. So I imagined that my mom was standing in the doorway and that she was looking at me with a serene look on her face, with a little bit of a smile, holding her hand out.
You didn't always know it was your imagination, though.
I didn't, though. I imagined it so hard that I believed that really happened, that she was really standing there. And then years down the line, she had to tell me, I wasn't even home. I was never there. I would have stopped that if I was there. And I was like, oh crap, you're right. You were never there. But I was like, this is not going to be the last thing I see if I'm going to die. I want it to be her face because I know she loves me and that she would protect me. And I feel safe with her. Which is odd because she couldn't protect herself from him. But that's one memory I will always remember him by. That always sticks with me. Whenever and he did that whenever it was like a truly like vicious moment, there was always a smile or a laugh. Like the time where I asked you to leave the room the week of our wedding, when I was talking to him and I was almost in tears, but I was like, I'm not crying in front of him again.
Right.
He laughed.
Yeah.
And he laughed when you were in the room too, right? I'm pretty sure he did. We talked about something and he chuckled.
I remember a few key points. I know he was trying to, he was trying to do the whole charming, like, like, oh yeah, you're marrying my daughter kind of thing, and trying to be charming, but also like just an edge of intimidation. But like, better take care of my daughter. But it's like,
but I mean, I
knew the person he was before going in to meet him, so I was just trying to keep it cool and,
My takeaway from him is that monsters can hide in plain sight. They can put up a good front so no one knows that they're a monster except you, because they show a good face to everybody else. That, he was violent. I mean, I got shoved up against walls, thrown across rooms, shoved off of beds. My head was hit. I had bruises, of course, where no one could see. I was put down constantly. I was made to feel like I meant nothing to him and nobody, and no one would ever love me because he didn't, because I was a mistake. Those were the takeaways from him. Violence, hatred, and just viciousness. That's all. Like there was no love, there was no hope, I to be quite honest, and I still feel this way, I have a odd relationship with my adoptive dad because I don't know what it's supposed to be. I don't know what a father-daughter relationship is supposed to be like. I have no clue. So I'm working from scratch, and I'm like, I've told my adoptive dad, I was like, I know I'm weird about this. I know it's on my side of things. You haven't done anything. I know this is me. And he's like, no, it's not weird. You're just figuring it out. It's okay. We'll do it together, one step at a time. Do it at your pace. Like, I'm here, we'll do what you need to do, kind of a thing.
Now, the trauma really does make it difficult to act on rationale, because like up here, she knows, oh, he'll accept me and he'll love me. But it's in here that she fears the rejection.
Well, and it's not just my bio dad. It's like adult men who, well, he did what he did, but there were adult men in my life who disappointed me in one way or another, that did wrong by me one way or another. Betrayal, whatever the case may be. And so it's like, can I trust you? And I know I can. Up here, I know I can. It's just in here where it's like, can I though? Can I take that step? So it's like a gradual process where I'm like, okay, I'm going to give you this. We'll see what you do with that. All right, I'm going to give you a little bit more. We'll see what you do with that. And it's not a test. It's more of a, I'm going to give you this piece of myself now, and now this piece, until gradually the puzzle will be filled in.
I mean, I would say you can, I don't think it's unfair to consider it a test, but it's not with any kind of manipulative malice intent or whatever. I hate to interrupt, but like, you do need to get going. And also, I'm parked behind you. Are you taking the Nissan, or do I need to move?
I'll just take your car.
Okay, that's fine. You got.
I just want before you go.
He wants to.
I just want to say thank you for what you've done so far, because it's very brave to open up like that. And I think a lot of people would be very grateful to hear your story. And I'm incredibly grateful that you trusted us to tell it. So thank you. And I'm proud of you. And I'll see you later.
Okay.
Yeah.